This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Praise and I'm back with another video. So for this week's video, I am going to be telling you how to study effectively, telling you everything that's worked for me, and hoping that you can take any of these tips, whether it's one or two, and use it to help you study a bit better, because I know, especially with the way studying is at the moment, it's much harder for people to feel motivated to actually study. Also, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe down below, click the like button, and without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that I would recommend is actually learning what type of learner you are. You can easily do a test online, I'm pretty sure, like I'm 99% sure, and if I find one, I'll link it in the description box below. But there are 4 different types of learners, or the 4 main categories of learners, which are auditory, visual, kinesthetic, and reading and writing. Now for me personally, I'm a reading and writing learner because that's just how I learn best. Like if you're talking at me for a good hour or so, it goes in one ear and out the other. So I like to write things down, or since I've entered uni, I've started learning to type things down and then print it out and then write it down. So learning what method works best for you is the easiest way to first actually get base level of knowing how to study effectively. That way, the better you know how you study and how you learn the most effectively, you can save time and don't need to be stressing yourself out in knowing if you're learning the information or not. The other second thing that I would recommend before even the studying part is actually listening in class. Whether you're in GCSEs, A-level, no matter what grade no matter what grade or year you're in, I would recommend that you actually do listen, because even in my seminars, I call them classes, the easiest way for me to learn information is actually focusing. So if I'm able to write down what they're saying, it saves you so much time if you're learning things before you actually go to study, because if you understand it whilst you're in that class, then when you're studying, you don't need to spend as much time trying to learn something when you've already understood the concept of it. So that's why I would recommend the second thing is for you to actually listen in class, your lecture, wherever else really. Also, another thing is, now that I know most people are online for school, I'm like 50-50. I go in, I don't go in, but actually attending your classes will help you studying in the long run. So if you're not there, then quite frankly, you will have to teach yourself all that information. Now some people do that really well, some people have friends who will give them notes, and some people just can't do that at all. So if you're one of those who cannot do it and learn information on your own, I would actually recommend you attend those classes. Okay, so now we're going to get into the main part of how I study effectively. So the first thing that I would recommend is I always write down everything I need to do. Now this doesn't work for everyone, but why I do this is that I can prioritize what I need to do, what I need to get done, and also sort of putting the time by the task I'm doing so that I can see how long I think it will take. That helps me so much more because I have a structure of what I'm doing in the day, how I'm going to get things done, and when I want to do it. With time blocking, I'm going to speak to you a bit about the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community where millions of people come together to take the next step in their creative journey. Skillshare offers thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. These classes are on a multitude of topics including photography, freelance, design, illustration, productivity, filmmaking, literally art. There's so much you can find on Skillshare. Whether you're a beginner, a pro, a dabbler, there is a class for you to do. Skillshare has classes that fit into your schedule as well as your level, and most of their classes are under 60 minutes, meaning that there are short classes to fit into your schedule whenever possible. So if you are studying and you need a break, you can watch a Skillshare class in the time in between and learn something new. These lessons can help you to get inspired, get creative, and express yourself. A class that I've been using to help me study effectively and structure out how I want to study is the Real Productivity Create Your Ideal Week by Skillshare's founder Michael. The class gives you information on apps you can use to plan your day, plan your week, and from that I've learned the plan, do, and review strategy, which has helped me create a studying routine and structure. Apart from that, there are thousands more classes which you can use to get creative and explore a topic that you might be interested in. And Skillshare are always launching new premium classes which you can use to stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. And it's less than $10 a month for an annual subscription. That means the first 1,000 people to click the link in my description description box will get a free trial of Skillshare's premium membership. Thank you once again for Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and let's continue. After I've written down those main tasks, I then write beside it, you can do this on a post-it note, on a piece of paper, on a whiteboard, you write beside it how long you think it will take you to complete each task that you've written down. That way, one, you either know if you're spending too long on something or giving yourself enough time, and if you find often that you're going over the time that you've written down, then it can help you for the next time to know that, okay, you might need a little longer, study this section, this topic, whatever it is. So I use a calendar because I find it so much easier to visually see what I'm trying to do. Other things that you can use are Google Calendar, which I also do use sometimes. Google Calendar is really effective as you can see it, and you can color code your task as well as see it in a block scheduled time. You can also use Notion, which I use like every day. I create a board on Notion where I have my to-do list, my priorities, how long it's going to take me, the day I need to get it done, and I do this at the beginning of the week. If you're trying to study effectively, knowing what you need to do is probably the first thing that you need to establish and get done. And if you put things in priorities, you can see what is most important, what you can chill about, and what like I can do tomorrow. Another way that will help you study effectively is knowing what time you want to study. Some people can study at night, some people can study in the morning. Me personally, there's no way you will catch me studying at night just because I cannot stay up to save my life. So I'm someone who studies in the morning, like 5 a.m. morning. I will happily do that because I can't stay up late. It differs per person, but if you personally know when is the best time for you to study, that will be another way in helping you with no distractions either. This is also something that should not be said, but personally works for me, is if I'm not in the mood to study, I will happily not do it, just because. Now this is different from procrastinating, but it's just that if I'm not in the mood, then I will not learn it. I may as well just not be there. I just may as well just not be studying if I'm not in the mood to do it. I'm not someone who often procrastinates, but if I know I'm not in the mood to study, I personally don't think you should even bother trying to do it, because you won't take in as much information as effectively as you would have if you're actually in the mindset to study as opposed to when you're not. Another tip I would recommend is having your own working space. I've heard that it's personally best if you try not to study in like a place of comfort, so for example your bedroom, but obviously not everyone has somewhere else to study. But if you can, go to a library, study downstairs, study anywhere else that is not close to something of comfort to you. Why do this? I have often been in my room studying, and then I look at my bed and I'm like, and I sit down on it for 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes turns into an hour turns into 3 hours, and I've not touched my books. So that is why I would recommend changing your study space, going downstairs, being around people who are studying too if you're in a library. That essentially is more helpful and more convenient for you, because you're more likely to get stuff done if other people around you are working too. Another thing I would also recommend is having a clean study space and working environment, because clutter just isn't it. It's just not it. If you have so many things around you and you're shuffling bits and bobs to try and figure out, oh, what is it I need to do? One, it's not time efficient, and two, if it's cleaner, it limits the amount of distractions that you're going to have while studying. Onto distractions, I would also recommend either turning your notifications off or just putting your phone somewhere else. I have grown to watching a lecture online, pausing it, looking at my phone for 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes turns into 30 minutes. I never used to have that problem, but I think since things are online, I get distracted so much more. So I've grown to just turning my phone off, because turning my phone off completely helps me to just focus on the task at hand and actually get it done. Alongside of figuring out what learner you are, you should also figure out as to whether you can listen to music whilst you're learning. If I'm watching a lecture or I am reading cases, lecture note, making notes, I cannot listen to music during any of that. The only time I'm able to actually listen to music is if I'm answering like my class questions, because I feel like I've learned everything before that, so I can have that little bit of distraction for me. That is something you should figure out if it works best for you. I know people listen to lo-fi music. You can find probably a bunch of playlists on Spotify. If I do find any, I will also link them down in the description box below. But if that's something that helps you study, then use that to help you. Another thing that helps me study sounds so wrong, but not studying. And what I mean by this is stopping when you need to stop, like taking that break when you need to stop. I have got to so many limits where I have to watch a 2-hour lecture, and after 1 hour I am lost. After that hour, I take my own time out and say, okay, I'll come back in like 10 minutes. Taking a break is actually necessary for you to study effectively. Just because you're studying for longer does not necessarily mean you are retaining all the information that you're learning in this large amount of time. So taking that break, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, to either eat, go on your phone, watch a video, go for a walk, do some exercise, anything will help you and helps me, because I just can't be studying for 3 hours with no break. Another way to study effectively if you're revising or whether you're just studying is going from the notes you've created and turning these notes into something that you can use to actively learn and constantly test yourself with. If you have notes on a specific topic, taking questions from those notes and putting them on flashcards so you can test yourself with it later on is another way that you can learn and study effectively. Another tip I would recommend is using literally Google. YouTube. Don't understand the concept, YouTube is free, Google is free. You can literally search it up, like you can get the most basic explanation for something that you don't understand, and that's what a lot of people fail to do. I'm just like, oh, I don't understand it, I'm not going to bother learning it. If you don't understand something, ask a friend, ask someone on your course, ask someone in your school, ask a teacher, use the people around you to help you. And so that has been it for how I study effectively. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found any tip useful from what I have recommended. If you would like me to do a more in-depth video on how I take my notes, do let me know in the description box below. Don't forget to subscribe as well as check out Skillshare's link, that will be in the description box. Been your girl Praise, and I will see you next week with another video.
Go, 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 shorty, it's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip